everybody. This is Scott Bunce, and I'm really excited today. I have a tremendous Vistage speaker, Todd Cetnar, and Todd gave one of the best motivational how to get better speeches I've had in all of my Vistage meetings. So, Todd, thank you for joining.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. This is great, Scott.
Yeah, it is great. So I usually start with what are three things that if somebody who's watching this are going to walk away from. And
Mm,
so I took some notes and I want to tee them up. The first one was how you do anything is how you do everything.
hmm
Come back to that. Two, it's not what happens in life, it's how you handle it. And then number three, how do you get 1% better every day?
mm.
We ready to tackle these?
Yeah, three good ones. Let's do it.
All right. So let's start with how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah, it's a great one. I got to tell you the story. You heard it in the Vistage talk, but let me tell the audience here. When I was growing up in Amsterdam, New York, my dad was a high school basketball coach, and I remember it like it was yesterday. It was 1988, and if you walked out of the back door in my house, again in Amsterdam, New York, you'd open up the back door, and there'd be this big hill in the backyard. And so one day, one night, about 6:30 at night, a bunch of my buddies and I, again, 10, 11 years old at the time, we're up there playing basketball. And my dad opens up the back door and he said, hey, fellas, you got to go home. Todd's got to come in for dinner. And so we all came running down this hill. And, at the time in the 80s, I don't want to date anyone that's listening, but we didn't have all these fancy water bottles like I'm holding in my hand. Where did we get our water, Scott?
Got it from a hose, baby.
You got to get it from the hose. So everyone took a sip of the hose as I turned it on for them. I was hosting. I had all my buddies taking a sip, and they started to run down, the driveway. And everyone lived kind of locally in a neighborhood. And back in the 80s, you could walk right back to your house, no problem. It was awesome. And so I was the last one to go. And so I took a sip of this water and I threw the hose on the ground. Now my dad was waiting for me at the back door. And as I'm walking towards my dad, he goes, hey, where are you going? I said, what do you mean? You just told me to come in for dinner. And he looked over at the hose and he said, put the hose back. I said, oh, Dad, come on, I'll get it tomorrow. What's the big deal? I'm hungry. Let's go. He said, hey, Todd, put the hose back. I said, Dad, I'm 10 years old. I said, Dad, come on. I said, no one's coming out here behind the house tonight at 6:30 at night between now and tomorrow morning before the school. I said, look, I'll get up tomorrow. I'll come back before school and I'll wind the hose up. He goes, can I ask you a question? I said, yeah. He said, what did you tell me the other day when we were watching, we were watching the NBA game on TV? I said, I said, maybe someday I'll get a Division I scholarship. And he said, well, what else did you say? You remember? I said, yeah, maybe someday I'll be on TV and get paid to play the game I love. He said, well, look, man, if you can't put that hose back right now and you cut that small corner, you're going to cut corners on the court, the classroom, your relationships, your career, and ultimately in your life, because excellence in small things is excellence in all things. Go put the hose back. And so, Scott, again, I'm 10 years old. I don't understand what he's saying. I mean, my dad had great presence. He was a coach. He was a teacher. And so I go put this thing back. And as I put the last ring on that silver thing that's hanging off the house, I stood up and he's standing right next to me. And he put his arm around me and we started walking together. And the quote that you said earlier, he said to me, he said, look, man, how you do anything is how you do everything. And what he meant in the moment, which took me some years to understand, was you got to stop operating out of preference and you got to start operating on a principle. Because if you want to get recruited and earn a Division I scholarship, play professionally, go on and get these lofty goals, it's everything that you do will add up to either good habits or poor habits. Doesn't matter what it is. And we'd laugh if I cleared the dishwasher the right way, if I folded my laundry, even as a kid. And he really helped me propel myself into understanding that when you start cutting a corner in one aspect of your life, you're going to do it in other areas. So let's make sure we build good habits, because those good habits will add up and eventually, hopefully, you'll earn those lofty goals. And I say this with humility. I earned that Division I scholarship and I went on to play professionally. So he was a guiding force in my life for sure.
Well, I think as we're as we're taping this, we're just getting past Father's Day. Uh,
Right.
what a great mentor and what a great personal story, how he sets you up for success.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to it's not what happens in life, it's how you handle it.
Mm.
Remind me of those thoughts and from the meeting.
Yeah, for sure. Well, in a meeting, if you ever had a chance to see me speak, I like to share these three videos of people that went through some life-altering events. Some people may know that are listening that there's a guy by the name of Aaron Ralston who ended up um, getting his arm caught on the side of a canyon, and he ended up cutting his arm off. It became a movie called 127 Hours. I show that in the talk. I then show another video, short video, 1 minute clip of a girl named Erin Langworthy who was bungee jumping in Zimbabwe, and her bungee cord snapped with about 70 feet left to her fall, and she was propelled in the crocodile infested water at the time. And then the final video is a dear friend of mine named Jason Fowler, and Jason went through a really hard time growing up in his life. Was a motocross guy, and he was out riding one day, didn't see a rock in some grass. He hit the rock, sent him flying from his bike, and he landed straight on his head, paralyzed him from the chest down. And in these three videos, I want to help my audience at the time understand that it comes down to perspective. If any one of these three individuals walked into the room right now, after the research I've done on the two errands and what I know about my buddy Jason Fowler, these people have zero victim mentality, and it's all about it's not what happens to them, it's how they handle it. And so when it comes to mental performance, which I've been a certified mental performance coach for the last decade, I really talk to executive leaders like yourself, college basketball coaches, pro athletes, so on and so forth, about understanding one thing. You will get hit with adversity. The minute you take your feet off the bed and you put them down onto the ground and you walk into your world, you are guaranteed adversity. It can be big, it can be small. It can be getting a ticket from a cop. It can be somebody hits you with a fender bender, spilling coffee, your kid's up at 3 in the morning vomiting. It doesn't matter. It's coming. Here's the difference. If you understand that 100% of the time you will find adversity in a day-to-day sequence, well, what happens normally when we get hit with adversity, Scott? Upset.
It can really throw you off
Yeah,
to the
derail
point
you.
to the point you're in a spiral sometimes.
100%. And we get angry and we get emotional. Well, what I've learned from studying high performers over the last 3 decades is they understand very clearly a setback is nothing more than a setup for a comeback.
Hmm.
And they do it really quickly. And that is the separator in life. So, to anyone listening, here's what I encourage you to do. The next time you get hit with adversity, which by the way, is probably coming today or tomorrow, don't get emotional. Don't get upset. You expected it. It's not if, it's when. And make the NBD. And what that stands for is next best decision. And just by shifting your mindset that much, you will be able to handle adversity and what I call turning adversity into your advantage.
Yes. Side note, speaking of adversity, I was in Africa and I went to the largest freestanding bridge that they had, and I did a bungee jump. And the adversity for me wasn't that I didn't survive the jump. The adversity was me was, can I survive the marriage? Because my wife refused to watch.
I can imagine.
All right,
That's awesome.
back to your talk. The last
Mm.
one was, how do you get 1% better every day?
Mm. Yeah, this one's near and dear to my heart. I learned this lesson a long time ago from a 10-year-old, believe it or not. I'll tell you the story because it's an incredible one. First of all, for any math major listening, I always challenge people, do you know what 1% of your day is? And what I mean by that is what's 1% in minutes of 24 hours? And the exact answer is 14 minutes and 24 seconds. Well, let's round it up for the sake of the conversation and just call it 15 minutes a day. Well, there's a quote I heard a long time ago, and I think it bodes true for a lot of people. It's the start that stops most people. Just think about it.
Mhm.
It's the start that stops them. I've got people that I've learned or I've worked with in the past, they want to get their MBA. And I'll see them 2 years later after I get done working with them. Hey, did you get your MBA? No, I had kids, I got married, we moved. It's the start. Or you got people coming off the new year, and they want to lose some weight, get healthy, and they might do it for a week, but they didn't see anything happen in a week. And then they stop because it's too big to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, go every day. Here's the difference. If you just take 1% of your day, again, it will separate you from most people. Let me tell you the story quickly. I got a buddy named Ryan. He says, "Hey, man, you got to come see my kid play soccer." His kid's name was Jacob. So I come see this kid play. I heard he scored 10 goals in a game at 9 years old. So I said, I got to go see this kid play. So I come up one day on a soccer field. I'm in a suit. My buddy Ryan's in a suit. And I'm watching him. Now it was a little bit late, Scott. So it was 2-0 with about 3 or 4 minutes into the game. So I said to Ryan, I said, "Hey, who's winning?" He said, "We are." Jacob scored both goals. I said, "Already? Let me watch this kid." So I sit back. I'm crossing my arms. There's no way this kid's this good. And I'm watching. And this kid scores again, steals the ball, scores another one. This is like rapid fire. So I looked at Ryan. I said, "Hey, man, how is this kid so good?" He's playing. Matter of fact, he was like the youngest kid on the field. So Ryan happens to pull out a napkin out of his back pocket. He takes a pen out of his suit coat. He starts to write down these numbers. And the first number he wrote down was 15. And as I just defined, that's 1% of your day. He laughed. He goes, "Hey, you know what this is, right? You teach it." I saw you talking about 1% of your day, 15 minutes. He said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, watch this." So he takes his pen and he writes down 1.75 on his napkin. He writes down 7 and then 91 right across the napkin. I said, "What are these numbers?" He said, "Todd, every single day when these kids get done with practice, they practice every day for 2 hours. It's crazy at 9, 10 years old." He says, "All the kids, the parents will drive up and pick their kids up and they'll go home for dinner. My kid will go to the coach." I don't know when he started this. He just would go over to the coach and say, "Hey, coach, what do I need to work on? What do I need to get better at?" And the coach will give him something that day. "Hey, you're really good at left foot dribbling. Why don't you work on your right foot?" So he'll look over at me. I'm in a car. He'll say, "Hey, Dad, come on. We're going to work on dribbling today, opposite foot." So I'll get out of the car and for 15 minutes, we'll do it. Well, I calculated that if 15 minutes a day, I wanted to see what does that look like after a week. What's 1.7 hours? So then I took it to a month. It's 7 hours a month. So then I calculated the year. We've been doing this for a couple of years now. It's 91 extra hours a year that Jacob gets over every other kid on his team and in the league. Now
Mm.
just think about this. If you just do something for 15 minutes a day, read 10 pages of a book, go run on a treadmill, take a walk around the block, meal plan and prep, start writing your own book, whatever it is, your master's. If you just do 15 minutes a day, 91 extra hours a year, what an edge that will give you. And so I always encourage people, how can we get 1% better with 1% of our day? What are you procrastinating on that you can just start and create some momentum? And once you create momentum, do it for 21 days to build a habit, then it'll become a lifestyle. So it's a pretty powerful concept that we all kind of know, but we forget about that. If you just do a little, a lot, not a lot, a little, it'll change where you are today versus where you want to be tomorrow.
It's funny because all three of what we just talked about is powerful, but that 1%, I walked away and I have actually set my alarm 15 minutes earlier in the morning, and I've added 15 minutes to my workout that I do 5 out of 7 days. So, I mean, that was one of my
Awesome.
takeaways right there.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So people are going to want to learn more about some of these concepts, some of these
Mhm.
experiences you've had. Uh,
Yeah,
we didn't have enough time today to talk about your professional basketball. That alone is a
mm,
motivational story that is
appreciate that.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And your play abroad, that really stuck with me as well.
Mm.
But Todd, if people want to get a hold of you,
Yep.
how do they do that?
Yeah, pretty simple. Just you type in toddcetnar.com. It'll really take you over to Cetnar Consulting Group. Cetnar is Cetnar Consulting Group. But if you typed in toddcetnar.com, you'll be able to click that link and go right over to my website. Sorry, I froze here, so I'm going to come right back to you guys. There we go. And it will be the easiest way to get a hold of me. You can take a look at some of the stuff I've done, who I've worked with, purchase the book, or if you want to do a 15-minute discovery call and get a chance to understand what I can do in terms of helping you, your company, your business, your sports team, it's the best way to get a hold of me.
Love it. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. And I encourage everybody to reach out to Todd and take advantage of some wonderful motivation and life skills along the way.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Scott. This is awesome.
All right. All the best.